Enter non-winning tickets online for a chance to win 1, 5, 10, or 20,000 bucks.
Yeah, but I built like 1,000,000 wooden trains.
Why do you keep making those?
They're a classic holiday gift.
Oh, trust me, Jingles. There's nothing more classic than...
Top prize odds vary by game.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Nutrition Authority invites you to try Anarchy, which is an exciting free workout for athletes and fitness enthusiasts who want the most out of their workout. Anarchy can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Remember, when you want results, the solution is simple. Nutrition Authority. Stop in, call, or check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
If you want all the latest technologies from those big banks, but you also want that hometown feel when you walk in the front doors, choose Midwest Bank. They have top-notch technology. They make banking so easy, and they also have the friendliest staff who will take their time to get to know you and treat you like family. You get the best of both worlds when you choose Midwest Bank. I live on the go, and now I can bank on the go. With Midwest Bank, I have everything I need at my fingertips. I'm volleyball player Allie Batenhorst, and at Midwest Bank, you'll love banking here.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Austin Orman with you on a very, very busy Wednesday afternoon. Austin, what's up, man?
Oh, there's a lot going on.
There is certainly a lot going on.
Beautiful times on the horizon.
There's certainly a lot going on. 402-464-5685. The Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line are both open for you guys the entire show today. And I definitely want to utilize the text line quite a bit. Also, the phone line, we do have a guest coming up at 1:30, Pete Nakos, a transfer portal reporter. You've probably seen his name surfacing throughout all of Twitter. It takes the lead on a lot of these stories that of guys entering the portal, guys flipping, changes in plans and visits. Well, we got him. Pete Nakos will join the show at 1:30 p.m. today to talk all things transfer portal. And then obviously throw a little bit of Nebraska in there because he's firmly on the situation of the Kyle McCord and Dylan Raiola time and stuff. And now also just in terms of big picture, we're going to have that conversation with Pete Nakos of On3, and he's, like I said, the transfer portal reporter for the On3sports.com team. So we'll be joined by Pete at 1:30. As I mentioned, 464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, and the Starter Heyman text line are both open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 951, all avenues for you guys to get in touch with the show. You can follow me and Austin on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Nick_Sainert and Austin_Orman. But for now, it's going to be a lot of quarterback conversation here on this show. Obviously, within the last 2 hours or so, the smoke with Daniel Kalen to another Big Ten program has kind of picked up some steam. There's obviously thoughts that Dylan Raiola is going to be a Nebraska Cornhusker. I think that confidence continues to rise for a lot of people. I think when I heard about it on late Sunday night or early Monday morning, I had some pretty good confidence in it as well. And so I think that's looking more and more realistic if you needed it to look more and more realistic. But for right now, Rico is on the way to Tampa with DP. So that's why Austin is here. Mm-hmm. Austin, a lot to cover in a short amount of time.
Whew. Yeah. That's putting it lightly. Football, volleyball, NBA, MLB, all sorts of stuff. But I'm excited to hear Pete, because you think of, transfer portal, we all kind of talk about it, but what guy better than Pete to dive in depth with, what actually happens? Like, is Matt Rule just pulling numbers out of his butt when he says 1 to 2 million for a good quarterback? Or is that actually the going rate?
Well,
stuff like that.
I mean, Matt Rule talked about it yesterday on that show, that he was just like, listen, I had a lot of people mad at me because the market gets
Matt, you reset the market. What are you doing?
Yeah, Matt, you reset the market. And I think that's probably a realistic thing, especially with a lot of these top level guys having agents, and in this world of hiring legal help, which is a good thing for the player and for the individual, but it also can kind of, screw over some collectives and force them to pay up even more than maybe they were desiring before and prior to the NIL in its current stage. Here in the first segment, though, and before we get to Pete, I want to talk about just the evolution of Nebraska's quarterback room and how drastically different it is going to feel around here when you're speaking specifically about the quarterback room, that is. How drastically different it's going to feel from the conversations we had back even in April of 2023 to the conversations we had in August, and then obviously in the middle of November when Nebraska was trying to get just one more victory for a bowl game. Those conversations are going to be a heck of a lot different from the conversations that we are going to have next week, in 2 or 3 months.
That we're already having right now.
And I mean, I just want to walk, and I walked Austin through this timeline, but just to kind of make sure that we're all on the same page, I want to kind of give this out to you guys, and 464-5685. I definitely want to know your thoughts on this, because just walk with me here. Nebraska, they obviously had disastrous quarterback play from all three of their guys. Maybe disastrous, the wrong word to use towards maybe a Chubba Purdy. Non-sustainable quarterback play from all three guys. Maybe that's a better way to phrase it. So we go into the offseason, whether it's us covering this team or as fans of the program, and you go, okay, they're going to go get a young quarterback, right? The first name I heard, Sam Leavitt. Sam Leavitt, young guy, 4 years remaining. They're going to bring him in. They're going to give him a chance to develop. He's going to be the guy. And then, and you're like, all right, that's fine. Like maybe they go after some big fish. They're visiting Will Howard. They're flying all over.
The Sam Leavitt thing was on the heels of a good quarterback cost $1 to $2 million.
Yes,
which sounded prohibitive.
Bingo. And they made it sound like we don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I admitted on the air about a week after that I read too much into that comment. Personally, that is. So then once again, that Sam Leavitt comes in and you're like, all right, well, that's kind of the avenue it looks like Nebraska's going to go with, because you have to be quick on a quarterback. You have to be so proactive in the transfer portal for a quarterback. But then they're flying all over the place. It's Blake Shapen. Maybe that's going to be a guy. Gary Bohannon is potentially a guy because of previous ties. We know how much these guys love to help out the people that they know and with guys with previous ties, whether that's players or coaching staff. And so then Kyle McCord enters the portal on a Monday, and they instantly visit him just a few hours later. They fly up there from Waco, and they visit Kyle McCord. And then smoke happens about Kyle McCord. You then lock him in for a visit. He's visiting the following Monday. And then now the conversation is, well, can you get both McCord and Levitt? How do you feel about those two guys? McCord was trash at Ohio State. He was surrounded by great talent. Sam Levitt's a guy that you can develop, but Sam Levitt doesn't want to sit. So whatever the case may be, then that advances to Sunday going, all right, well, maybe Sam Levitt's, you haven't talked to him in a couple of days. McCord, they're zeroing in on. That's going to be Nebraska's quarterback. They'll keep Chubba Purdy and Heiner Carberg. Danny Kalin's still coming in. That's what we're going to go with. And then the bombshell on Monday. The bombshell on Monday night that Nebraska could flip the number one quarterback in the country. And it's more of, okay, well, Kyle McCord's done. It's not happening. We're not getting both of them. Nebraska's not going to take both quarterbacks. Why? Because that money piece again. And then you go, wait. And this is something I'm going to talk to Pete Nakos about here in about 20 minutes or so. Young quarterbacks are becoming more and more acceptable with the fact of sitting behind an experienced guy for a year. Dante Moore is trending to do it at Oregon behind Dylan Gabriel. And now Dylan Raiola is trending to do it behind Kyle McCord. So you look ahead, and then, not to mention here on a Wednesday, on a week that feels like it's taken 7 days off of our lives, on a Wednesday, your 2024 in-state quarterback who did the bulk of peer recruiting, the guy you rushed to go grab from Missouri and get him to decommit and then commit to you guys after the guy you're flipping committed to Georgia, is now taking a visit this weekend to East Lansing with Jonathan Smith at Michigan State.
Jonathan Smith.
My boy, Jonathan Smith. The guy that did the bulk of the peer recruiting is now projected to not be a part of this class. Just a whirlwind of emotion, an extremely just chaotic time frame and timeline, and evolution of events. Because now, going back to what we just talked about, the conversation that we're having now, we're about to have with Pete in about 20 minutes of On3, and the conversations for months to come surrounding this quarterback room. Not only are the people in the city of Lincoln paying attention, or Nebraska, or in the Midwest. This is a country and nationwide thing because Nebraska is at the center of the transfer portal quarterback market.
Which is wild in and of itself, right? You knew Nebraska was going to get a transfer portal quarterback or two, but to set off this big firestorm nationally, that's a completely different level of involvement than I think anyone expected from Nebraska. And even though he's not a transfer portal guy, the whole Raiola thing is the biggest wrench in this. Like, you could talk me into, Nebraska being in play for a Kyle McCord type of guy. Did I think it would have been likely? No, but you could have talked me into it. But 3880 on the text line either has more faith than anyone or better sources than anyone, says it was always Raiola, GBR. It was not always Dylan Raiola. The fact that we ended up back at this square potentially is incredible. Things have changed drastically for Dylan Raiola to still be in play for this team.
I mean, and just once again, like, you just think of the events that have had to take place, that have taken place, right? And the thought I had earlier today that crept into my mind was, does Nebraska go out and get both of these guys if they do make a bowl game? If they're preparing for a bowl game here and Chubba Purdy's getting ready to be the starting quarterback, does Matt Rule come out and be like, listen, Chubba's going to be our guy going forward. He got us that 6th win. We feel like there's a building block here. And like my gut reaction is no, because you're always going to feel like you can get better and you can continue to elevate yourself. But then what's the transfer portal look like? Is Nebraska
have had the time or resources to go get these guys?
And that's the point. Is Nebraska nearly as active? Nearly as active as they are right now in the portal? And I think the answer is probably not. They're active, but you have to remember, and maybe this is an advantage, as wild as it is for me to say this, somewhat of an advantage for teams that aren't playing in bowl games. You have until Saturday for visits, man. Like, you have such a short time frame, and getting visits in transfer portal season is so crucial that like you either they very rarely are guys committing without visiting campus.
Mm-hmm.
And so not only was Nebraska allowed to fly everybody over, fly all over the place, get Tony White an extension. Now Matt Rule goes on national shows and is talking about Nebraska's program from a big picture sense. But also all in the process of this just happened a week ago. I can confirm that Dylan Raiola up until about a week ago was not available, was not going to be a Nebraska Cornhusker. But at the end of the day, here we are on December 13th, a week from signing day. And Nebraska is going to get another official visit from Dylan Raiola, or another visit, not the first official visit, another visit from Dylan Raiola. They brought Kyle McCord on campus on Monday. Julian Fleming, who's a wide receiver 1 in Nebraska's offense, knows how I put the caveat, Nebraska's offense, wide receiver 1 in Nebraska's offense on Tuesday. And here on Wednesday, I'm sitting here going, I'm about 95% confident they're getting all 3. And the only person that I'm taking to the 5% away because of is Julian Fleming.
And that's just wild to think about. I mean, Nebraska fans, I think, keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Like, what's going to go wrong? Like, is this really all coming up in Nebraska?
Who else is going to sweep in on Dylan Raiola? Who else is going to sweep in on Kyle McCord?
They don't want to work together. You know, Raiola was committed to Ohio State, and he didn't for some reason. Is there animosity from a visit or something? Like, I think there are plenty of Nebraska fans out there who are so incredibly jaded. And here's the thing. It's college football, right? This is so incredibly wild that it's happening at all, let alone to Nebraska.
Yeah.
That who knows if there are any more twists and turns left in this saga. But that's why I think you want the weekend to get here. You just want the pen to paper. You want a week from today, early signing day. For that, I mean, McCord and or Fleming could commit at any time. So no, it's not done until it's done.
Yeah,
but Husker fans, it's okay to be excited about something that might actually be happening.
Yeah.
Like, you might have something good happening to Husker football, and that's okay.
Yeah, I just think that, man, I mean, like I sat back this morning, and once again, for people that obviously have phone calls and conversations throughout the course of a couple of days regarding all of this, right? That I'll be honest, like frankly, like I've sat back. Today was the first day that I was able to sit back and be like, holy crap. Just think of the once again, I keep saying it, the evolution of Nebraska's offseason to this point. And I can say there's more coming. Like there's more stuff happening. There's obviously coaching staff has not talked. I mean, they haven't talked about role changes. I think those are still coming. I just think, like, unfortunately, Nebraska here, and I don't want to be in that camp of like, we won the offseason. Nebraska won the offseason. I'm not in that camp. But you can't sit here and say that Nebraska's staff hasn't been proactive, and potentially when they had the worst quarterback room in all of Power 5 football this year, they've gone out and not only brought in guys or scheduled visits, that is, brought in guys or scheduled visits to not only improve the quarterback room in the short term, but also drastically improve and bring stability for years to come.
That's why I brought this up with Strick yesterday, and I want your reaction to this too. It feels, again, kind of like offseason champs in the making, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Right? Because Kyle McCord is a better quarterback prospect than Nebraska will have gotten since Tommy Frazier.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Yeah. I mean,
Dylan Raiola, highest rated since Tommy Frazier. Not saying those guys are going to be him, but like they're guys with a legitimate pedigree, with, in Kyle McCord's case, a legitimate track record of success with good tutelage and coaching. So yes, I get it. Again, be cautious, be jaded. Don't buy into it all at once. Like, it's on the team to, finally make good on some of this promise. But the caliber of player that Nebraska is potentially getting in Kyle McCord and Dylan Raiola is different even than like Casey Thompson and Trey Palmer. Casey was kind of a journeyman, right, at Texas, back and forth, platoon kind of guy. Trey Palmer, you can say he had all the talent in the world. He proved it, but wasn't supposed to be that.
Yeah, and that's a big part. I mean, you're absolutely right. I think also you just look at, we have to stop, and we being people that pay attention to Nebraska football, I caution you guys to stop comparing Kyle McCord to Heisman Trophy winners. Nebraska's not getting a Heisman Trophy winner, but you also have to be realistic in that Nebraska's been a program that's had and endured immense struggles. And for them to not only be in on a guy like Kyle McCord, but be in the lead and, by my accounts, eventually going to get the commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to put, I put my confidence and my reputation on that, as you can call me out if it doesn't happen. Shows a lot about this staff's process, a lot about the message that they're translating. Because Kyle McCord, and we said this when they visited him, he's not letting anybody into the building. He's not letting anybody into the McCord household. Sip will tell you the same thing when he's had conversations with his dad. Like, McCord's, the Cam Wards, the Will Howards, those high echelon quarterbacks are not just letting any school into their house to talk to them. Because guess what? Those guys, the top echelon guys, most of the time have a plan. All right, where do I need to go? What are the fits? What level of ball realistically can I play? What are my priorities?
They don't have to say yes just to be polite.
Bingo. They're not like, there's not a, oh no, maybe I won't have a spot. Like,
no,
that's not the case.
Guys.
That's not the case. So they can be picky. And so once again, I reiterate the fact that Nebraska is not only in contention, has really been the only serious contender, if you will, is pretty freaking impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I understand, right? We don't want to sit here and talk about hypothetical situations. We don't want to sit here and assume or speculate. But I will say this. If Nebraska staff is able to pull this off prior to bowl season even happening, it gives you confidence and excitement for future teams and future rosters and future recruiting, because you do have that stability piece.
Mm-hmm.
Not only in maybe some late offseason additions through guys through the portal that might enter late, but also you can preach stability going forward. Like, they have now invested in their quarterback if Dylan Raiola ends up coming. And even with Daniel Kaelin, like, this wasn't changing. But you've invested in your future for the seasons in 2025, 2026, 2027. So now you can sit out there and go and talk to recruits next year saying, hey, when you get here in 2025, guess what? We don't have to sit here and be like, yeah, don't worry, we're going to go out and get a portal QB. Don't worry. It's not trust us. It's look at us.
Mm-hmm.
So Nebraska's in this crazy situation, and I'll wrap it up with this before we get to Pete Nakos of On3, the transfer portal reporter for On3 Sports. I'll wrap it up with this. Think back to the conversations we were having at the end of the season after the Iowa game. And here we are less than a month later, 3.5 weeks later, saying Nebraska has 2 of these 3 guys are going to be on Nebraska's roster next year. A quarterback that led them led their team to an 11-1 start, who's experienced and has not had turnover issues, an Elite 11 finalist and the number 1 quarterback in the country, or another Elite 11 finalist from the state of Nebraska who did all your peer recruiting. I think if Nebraska hits, which they would, on 2 of those 3, you feel pretty freaking good. And it's so dramatically different than it was just 3.5 weeks ago here in Lincoln.
The offseason is basically over at that point. Like, you have accomplished item number 1.
Absolutely.
Now, internal development, get better, but within, the scope of just the transfer portal window and signing day, like you said, before bowl games even kick off, to have accomplished the most important, agenda item, which was not just get a quarterback, but get a quarterback for now and the present, to have that done this quickly, to turn that conversation so fast.
Yeah.
That's a tip of the cap and then some.
Let's go to break. I highly recommend, if you're on the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, if you're listening on the FM dial, at your cubicle, wherever, stick around. When we come back, we're going to be joined by On3 Sports transfer portal reporter Pete Nakos. Honestly, if you're active on social media at all, you've seen his name going all over the place, because he's right in the thick of the entire transfer portal situation on a national scale. We're going to ask him about Nebraska, Kyle McCord, Dylan Raiola. We're going to ask him about Daniel Kaelin. We're going to ask him about ETN, because we got some questions on the text line about the Florida running back, right? But then we're also going to have a big picture discussion with Pete about transfer portal and the college football landscape. So we're going to do all that and more coming up. Pete Nakos of On3 Sports joins us. Coming up next right here, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's phishing season. Bad actors are trolling your business emails, luring you and your employees to take the bait and steal your private information. Make sure your cybersecurity keeps your business from being the catch of the day. At Hamilton, cybersecurity is our business. We are experts at keeping your network and business information secure and off the hook. Contact Hamilton for a vulnerability assessment today. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
New year, new career. The new year is just around the corner. Why not start it off strong with a new career? General Excavating is looking for qualified underground utility project managers. Check out our website, generalexcavating.com, or call 402-467-1627 for more information. Happy holidays from General Excavating. At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone, and here with me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know the new Honda sales are going really good right now at Honda of Lincoln, and with that, a lot of fresh trade-ins are coming in. Can you tell our listeners about your pre-owned selection?
I'm happy to, Charlie. Like you said, with new Honda sales going very good, we have a lot of fresh trade-ins coming in daily, and not just Hondas. We have just about every maker model you can imagine, with over 100 pre-owned and certified pre-owned to choose from, and prices starting at just $5,900.
Wow, what about financing?
We have financing as low as 3.29% APR on certified Accords and CRV.
Thanks again, Andy. People love the selection and great service at Honda of Lincoln. Maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Are you tired of living in pain? It's time to take control. At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, we're your one-stop shop for expert care in Lincoln. From broken bones to complex reconstruction, our skilled team will help you get back on track. Visit prairieortho.com today and discover why we're the trusted choice for thousands of patients. Don't let pain hold you back. Take the first step towards a better, pain-free life with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins. Call 402-489-4700.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
This isn't the real Caesar's Palace, is it?
What do you mean?
Did Caesar live here?
No.
I didn't think so.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert, Austin Orman with you. Once again, you guys can chime into the show. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line, both open for you guys the rest of the way here. Really good conversation in that first segment there. But now let's get into a little bit deeper thing on the transfer portal, the college football landscape, as we're joined by Pete Nakos of On3 Sports, transfer portal reporter for the folks over at On3 on the Allo VIP line. Pete, appreciate you taking time out of the busy schedule. How's life treating you throughout the transfer portal season?
I'm pretty good, man. Drinking a lot of coffee and trying to get on the phone with a lot of people.
Well, I hear
but all good.
Let's just dive right in to Nebraska football specifically, and it's kind of an unprecedented time because Nebraska has one of the worst offenses in the Big Ten Conference this season, especially struggled at the quarterback position, but as you know, has been very active in the quarterback market. Obviously, Kyle McCord, and then the bombshell that was dropped on Monday with Dylan Raiola. I guess just overall, what are you hearing regarding Kyle McCord, and what should the approach for Husker fans be when hearing that they might not get just one, but also two?
I would think it'd be excitement, right, man? Not a shout at Nebraska here, but you mentioned it, right? The offense was abysmal in moments last year, and I mean, Matt Rule has been adamant about trying to get a quarterback. They've won after like 5 at my last count. Marcus Satterfield was aggressive, flying all over the country, and now they have a shot to get not only Kyle McCord, but Dylan Raiola. And I mean, if you're a Husker fan right now, that has to. I know it's been a long, 20 years, give or take. You would know better than me, but for Matt Rule to attack the quarterback market the way he has the last, week now, I mean, that really has to re-energize a lot of fans.
Hey, Pete, this is Austin. A question for you, too, on that. Who or what is the reason for Nebraska, having some of this success in the transfer portal and with Dylan Raiola? I mean, the brand, like you said, has lost some luster over those 20, 30 years. So is it something about Nebraska's football team? Is it, facilities, arms race? Is it Matt Rule? Who or what is the key to Nebraska's success so far in the transfer portal this cycle?
Yeah, so let's talk the quarterback market specifically in the transfer portal. I think that Nebraska offers almost everything that Kyle McCord is looking for. You can make the argument that Nebraska is a couple players away from really competing in the Big Ten stage. And I really think he's encouraged by what Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield are selling him right now in these conversations. I don't know if there's one thing really setting Nebraska apart. I think, though, you guys know Matt Rule, right? Like, I think he's really personable. I think he leaves a strong impression on people. And I think Matt Rule is one of those characters in college football who's made for the portal in terms of he's just a good guy who can really connect with a lot of different people from just what I've seen from afar.
We're speaking to On3 Sports. Pete Nakos here with us on the Allo VIP line. Pete, sticking with specifically Ohio State players, and through your conversations with guys that have entered the portal, I'm sure you've had hundreds throughout these last couple of weeks or so, but Ohio State specifically has lost a lot of players to the portal. Do you think there's something bigger going on at Ohio State? What is the situation that I believe 14 or 15 players from the Buckeyes have entered the portal, and Nebraska's in on 2 of them, obviously McCord, but then also Julian Fleming?
Yeah, so last time I checked, we're at 16 now.
Okay.
I think a couple things are going on in Columbus. I think the first thing that we all have to understand is that, of the 16, I'd say at least anywhere between 8 to 11 of them, we're probably never going to see the field at Ohio State. It's a mix of walk-ons and then maybe 4-star recruits that's just never panned out. And then, you have Kyle McCord, who, just from conversations I've had, it's really clear that he wanted to be told that he's going to be the day one starter in 2024. And I just don't think Ryan Day was ready to jump at that, which that's a conversation they had. Make of it what you will. And then in the case of Julian Fleming, right, I don't think anyone can talk bad on that Ohio State wide receiver room. They're bringing in Jeremiah Smith. Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis are fantastic, and they're really pushing Julian Fleming for reps this past year. Now he's a grad transfer. He wants to go somewhere where he is really going to be throwing the ball pretty frequently during a game. And sometimes, guys, you just have so much talent in a room that some people need to bounce. And we saw that with Jameson Williams when he went to Alabama.
Yeah, and Pete, I guess you mentioned something there about quarterbacks, and obviously quarterbacks just such a big topic right now here in Lincoln. But you speak about quarterbacks, and guys want to start where they're going, especially in a case like Kyle McCord. How about a guy like Dylan Raiola? Or I know Dante Moore is also out there who has multiple years of eligibility left. We're somewhat seeing a shift in mentality where these younger guys are now being more willing to go and maybe sit behind an older guy like Dante Moore. If he ends up going to Oregon, he's going to be behind Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Raiola at Nebraska, if he comes to Lincoln, he'll be behind Kyle McCord for a year. Why do you think there's that shift in, I mean, honestly, the last 2 years or so through the transfer portal where guys are maybe have 4 years left or 3 years remaining, they're okay with sitting for a season behind a veteran guy?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of young quarterbacks right now, guys, who do want to play right away. I think that, I mean, you look at Kyle McCord, right? He sat behind C.J. Stroud for 2 years. Like, I would say that Kyle McCord is pretty close to a polished product, and everyone always has room to improve. Don't get me wrong, but like, I mean, Kyle threw for over 3,000 yards. He went 11-1. Like, I think learning behind an elite quarterback makes a difference. By no means do I think Nebraska getting involved in Kyle McCord is the reason why Dylan Raiola might flip his commitment, but I would think now that he's really just trying to get more and more information about what's going on in Nebraska. I'm sure that sitting behind McCord for a year is a good thing, and Georgia is trending to get Carson Beck back, and I think there's all kinds of factors on the possible Raiola flip, but I think sitting behind McCord is a plus that maybe he didn't anticipate.
Is a plus that Nebraska didn't anticipate in missing out on a bowl game the opportunity to get involved in these conversations with some of these quarterbacks earlier, or would it be better for Nebraska if, made a bowl game, be successful, and would they have the same poll if they didn't have, as much time over these 2 weeks to go recruit because they were preparing for bowl?
Yeah, I don't think it would make a difference, but you might not be wrong in the fact that, right, Nebraska's offense coordinator was able to fly to Columbus, right? Like, I can't guarantee one way or the other if that would have happened or not if they were in a bowl game, but I can tell you now because I know that they weren't in a bowl game and he had no problem flying to Columbus in a moment. So, yeah, I think I don't know if it makes a difference or not. I think just credit to Matt and that coaching staff for really just being aggressive from the get-go and knowing that they needed to attack. And honestly, guys, I think he set the tone when he had that press conference. Said, "Hey, if we go out of the quarterback, it needs to be an instant impact guy, and yeah, we're going to have to shovel out some cash." That's just how it's all going right now.
Let's talk about that because that was the next thing I was going to bring up to you. When Matt Rule did make the comment of 1 to 1.5, maybe $2 million for a QB. I mean, Pete, you're more. I mean, you're in the transfer portal like unlike we are, rather. Is that accurate? Like, did that reset the market? Like, where is that number? What's the situation?
That's spot on. You got some quarterbacks right now trying to get more than the highest end of that spectrum, where he said $2 million. No, I think that's spot on. And I think what Matt was saying was, like, we're talking about the elite quarterbacks in the transfer portal. We're not talking about Joe Smith, who's like a former 2-star who might go to a group of 5 school. No, we're talking about like the top 5 to 7 transfer portal quarterbacks. And yeah, I think he's spot on. I don't think NIL was the reason why Kyle McCord left, but I can guarantee you guys that it definitely was a factor. And he thought he was a little bit more than what his worth was than what he was being paid at Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, we heard those comments from Matt Rule, and I think a lot of us here in Lincoln took that as Nebraska's unwilling to pay for it. That's maybe why we saw them, initially start the conversation with guys like Sam Levitt, but then it escalated quickly to the Kyle McCords of the world. Obviously, Dylan Raiola, who has a legacy connection, but still, if you had to put a confidence on Nebraska getting either Kyle McCord and or Dylan Raiola, just where's your head at? I definitely want to get to a big picture college football conversation, but as we kind of put a bow on Nebraska, like, is McCord taking any more visits that you're aware of? Where's Nebraska stand with both of these guys if you had to make a prediction?
I mean, you were asking my confidence level, I put both at 75 that they flip Raiola and land McCord. I don't see Kyle McCord taking another visit as of right now. And Dylan Raiola should be enrolling at Georgia this weekend and joining the team, but instead he's going to take an OV to Nebraska. If he touches down at Lincoln, I said game over. He's a Nebraska Cornhusker.
Yeah, it's truly fascinating. We're getting some questions on our text line. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement in Lincoln because quarterbacks are so polarizing in the college football game nowadays. But there's a couple other interesting names that potentially Nebraska might be in on. I know Princely Uman-Miele, and obviously his brother Prince Will plays at Nebraska. I don't know if you have any information on Princely, the former Florida Gator. I know he's been involved with some other SEC schools. But then also Trevor Etienne is a guy that Nebraska fans kind of are hoping to hear some good things about. Either debunk them or do you have any information regarding those couple of guys on even just where they're interested in?
I got bad news for you guys. Trevor Etienne is not going to land in Nebraska.
Yep.
Georgia is the favorite. I'd be stunned if he doesn't land at Georgia. Just having conversations with multiple people, just trending towards the Bulldogs right now. In terms of Princely, he was at Ole Miss this week. Hearing some other SEC schools pop up, but yeah, I mean, I don't have any inside track there. But like you mentioned, his brother's at Nebraska, and I would just have to think like playing with a sibling is something not a lot of athletes can do. So I would imagine that Nebraska will definitely get a look somewhere along the way, but can't promise you that they're like a top 3 school or anything like that right now.
All right, Pete. Let's talk a little big picture here with transfer portal. Because once again, we're hanging out with Pete Nakos of On3 Sports, transfer portal reporter for the guys over there. When you just look at the landscape of college football nowadays, do you ever see this slowing down to where, I mean, quarterbacks are just jumping in left and right? Obviously, there was a lot of them on the board this year. Do you ever see it slowing down?
No. I mean, not until we get to like a new age of college sports where you see revenue sharing or anything like that. But the model we're in right now, I mean, the portal is going to continue to churn. And I don't know how closely you guys follow the courts, but like there was a lawsuit today against the NCAA in West Virginia about the transfer portal and 2-time transfer waivers, and the NCAA lost that in court. I mean, it's just the beginning. It's a long process, but athletes who transferred twice, with my understanding, will now be able to play right away for the next 14 days. By no means is that like settled or anything like that. We're just getting started. But my point is, I think the transfer portal is just going to continue to ramp up more and more.
I think when you look at NCAA President Charlie Baker's, proposed solution of opting into that subdivision, for the guys that, go play for the teams that opt into the subdivisions, the one that are giving them the trust funds, it would be hard for them to want to potentially transfer out of that subdivision where they wouldn't then, have that fallback plan. Do you think that if, Charlie Baker's plan came to fruition, obviously with tweaks, that would, keep that pool of players up there in, that same group of schools more often? Or would it be that same kind of free flow of, Power 5 backups going down to, current group of 5 schools and then group of 5 stars trying to get up to that subdivision to get a shot at a bigger school?
I don't think there would be a group of 5 in that subdivision. But I do agree with the sentiment you're saying about athletes moving up and down. Right, you're talking about a trust fund and a minimum of $30,000, which means that they could pay like a quarterback $1 million if they wanted, but there's only so many dollars. So yeah, I think to an extent you could see, and this is such a hypothetical, so just bear with me, but like you could see the backup at Alabama becoming the starter at A&M because A&M can pay more money to the backup than Alabama can because of revenue they generate. Like, that's such a hypothetical, but I don't see group of 5 ever really being a factor in that next subdivision. I think we'll be talking about like 50 schools.
We're here with Pete Nakos of On3 Sports, and one more Nebraska angle that I forgot to mention. Daniel Kaelin. It was just announced a couple hours ago or less than that Daniel Kaelin, who has been committed to the Huskers for quite a while now and done a lot of the peer recruiting, is going to be taking a visit to Michigan State. Now that kind of caught me off guard because obviously Aiden Childs is I can't remember if he's committed or if he's just trending that way.
No, he's not committed, but he's definitely trending.
So
pick in for him to win.
Okay, so I mean, it just seems like a really interesting scenario, but one that now Daniel Kaelin, if Nebraska's, which they are, favorited to get both Raiola and McCord, it just seems like, man, in a blink of an eye, that Daniel Kalen has just switched his idea and thought maybe Michigan State's a better spot for me to land?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand why Daniel Kalen would go to Michigan State, right? They lost 3 quarterbacks to the portal. He might have the option to be like the backup right away as a freshman behind Aiden Childs if Aiden does land there, which, I mean, I think like everybody in college football expects right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would understand that, right? And the Dylan Raiola show comes to town, Kyle McCord comes to town. Like, I completely understand that. Not a shot at Daniel Kalen, but, like, I'm sure you guys would agree with me, but, like, I would assume Raiola would be the backup next year if him and McCord come in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We got one question on our text line that I want to send your way. I mean, in that conversation of Daniel Kalen moving on, is there concern underlying concern that fellow commits move on, or are we just too late in the process here for really anything to really pick up steam before early signing day next Wednesday?
I would not predict that any commits would flip or anything like that. I think we saw a lot of Twitter reaction with like emojis and stuff yesterday and knew that or 2 days ago, and I kind of reacted it to as like, this is exciting, not like I'm gonna flip. So no, I wouldn't worry about the class falling apart or anything like that. And Dylan Raiola knows these guys, right? Like, he's been on campus before, he's met them. There's a story out this week, I believe, too, that like he's been in communication with some of them. So I wouldn't worry about the class falling apart or anything like that.
Well, Pete, we'll go ahead and let you go. I definitely want to get you back on maybe when the dust settles and we're into the springtime, because I think there's a lot of good conversations that we could have just in regards to big picture college football and how much it's changed. Because through the transfer portal, through NIL, I mean, you know it as good as anybody. I mean, who are the major players in the country? And so I definitely want to try to get you back on in the next couple of months once the dust settles. But once again, man, we appreciate you taking some time out of the busy day. And we know, obviously, you're doing a lot for On3 and the transfer portal following. So we really appreciate it, man.
You bet. Thanks so much for having me, guys. Have a great day.
There he is, Pete Nakos of On3, transfer portal reporter for them. So there you go. Hopefully for some of the folks on the text line, we answered some of the questions throughout that 15, 20-minute conversation with Pete. It was kind of bouncing all over, a lot of Nebraska-centric conversations, Austin. But for the most part, I mean, kind of stuff that, once again, if you want a guy that's on a national level of recruiting to kind of confirm some things, Nebraska is really in a really, really good spot for both Kyle McCord and Dylan Raiola. Daniel Kalen moving on seems more and more likely as well. Julian Fleming, Nebraska's in a good spot for him. And just Nebraska is going to be competitive in the transfer portal. He feels like Matt Rule is a coach that's somewhat built for it, which was really interesting because I'm not sure Matt Rule believes that he's a coach built for it.
Matt Rule, I think, can learn and grow as a coach.
Yeah.
That's what that tells me. And that Matt Rule is already doing that, right? He left a college football without a transfer portal to this degree. He re-entered essentially through the transfer portal of his own. So he knows it's out there. He knows it exists. And I think he's confident in his ability to connect with players. That's why he coaches the way he does. That's why he recruits the way he does. So I think he has an inkling of the power of relationships and that he could be a power player here. But I also think he's going to not fight, what he was, how he got his start in college football, but he's going to learn how to meld those approaches together, the old fashioned with the new school. And I think that's going to take some time for Nebraska. But if Matt Rule is still learning the transfer portal on the fly and landing Kyle McCord in his first real cycle, my goodness.
Well, I thought Pete did a really good job of like stepping back and saying, listen, Kyle McCord was under CJ Stroud for 2 years. He learned from CJ Stroud, who we know is now excelling and is a favorite to be rookie of the year in the NFL. He led a team to an 11-1 record. He threw for 3,000 plus. Nebraska's 3 quarterbacks barely combined to, I would be surprised if they combined for more than 3,000 passing yards. You look at just Nebraska in general, and they need a playmaker.
Nebraska didn't combine for 2,000.
There you go. There you go. And so in response and in being realistic for what Nebraska needs to just improve. not even compete on a national championship level, to just improve. Kyle McCord does that, even if he's not the CJ Strouds, or even if he doesn't have the name of a high-level transfer quarterback. That's okay, because there's still improvement and progress there with a guy like Kyle McCord over maybe what Nebraska was going to return, be able to get elsewhere in the portal. I mean, we know they took big swings, and here they are. They landed one. And so
Kyle McCord's a gap-to-gap double.
Yes.
Dylan Raiola's that 3-run bomb.
Bingo. And so I just think it's important for Husker fans and just Big Ten football fans in general to kind of take note, because look at how the rest of the conference in the Big Ten, and this is what I wanted to ask Pete, and I'm going to slam the table because I got mad because I forgot it. But I wanted to talk to Pete about, like, look at the rest of the Big Ten football landscape. You have Wisconsin taking a quarterback. They just brought in three guys at quarterback last year.
Highly rated ones, too.
Highly rated guys. Nick Evers from Oklahoma, Tanner Mordecai, obviously, who's now gone. You have Oregon that brought in a new quarterback. Washington's getting a visit from Will Rogers this weekend. Ohio State is trying to go after some big fish in the sea.
Minnesota gets the best FCS
Bingo.
guy.
Like, you're seeing,
Iowa got Michigan's guy last year.
So when you're in the Big Ten or SEC in this case, you're seeing it play out where every single program feels the need to get better at the quarterback position, because Jay and I have talked about it. I'm sure you and Strick have talked about it, and you and I have talked about it. Quarterback is the most important position in this day and age of college football. Every single team in the top 10 has a playmaker at quarterback. Whether a playmaker is described to you as a true athlete that could do everything, or if he's a guy that just does his job. Every single one of those teams has a true quarterback. Nebraska did not have one this year. And now you're starting to see the landscape of college football change to where every program, if they truly want to compete, they feel like they need to continue getting better at the quarterback position.
They do, and that was the big knock on the Big Ten compared to the SEC, right? Where were the Bryce Youngs? Where were the Tua Tagovailoas? There were plenty of Stetson Bennett's, who, underrated player, really good, led Georgia to a national title.
Did his job.
But had more talent around him. It was better than the Stetson Bennett's that the Big Ten was fighting. So I think the Big Ten, after this last decade of SEC dominance in these championship games in the college football playoff, has learned its lesson. Like, yeah, we can still be old-fashioned enough. We can still control the line of scrimmage and, be big and burly and win in the winter. But a lot of these bowl games are shifting to domes.
Yeah.
You're shifting to warm weather climates for these big games.
In November, Nebraska is going to be playing in California. Like, it's important to be able to win games in all types of weather. And part of that's mentality up front, especially in the trenches, but also part of that is being able to have and blend that and balance that with playmakers and guys that hold on to the football in the most crucial of times. And so, I mean, that's the thing is, and you're seeing programs take two quarterbacks. I mentioned Oregon in that conversation with Pete. Oregon's trying to bring in a fellow 5-star from UCLA who is going to have 4 years remaining, and just to have him sit behind Dylan Gabriel. And by the way, Dylan Gabriel was quite the pickup in his own right.
Twice.
So now, twice. So now Nebraska, somewhat following that same idea to where they'd go after Kyle McCord, and certainly you're not going to say no to the number one high school prospect in the country at the quarterback position. So now you sit here and go, man, we're in quite the advantageous and different position than we were last year at this time, because we don't only have one quarterback that we feel good with, but in the unfortunate case that Nebraska's quarterback gets banged up next year, needs to miss a game, it's not a substantial drop-off. And that has killed Nebraska in the games against Troy, in the games against Colorado, in the games. You can go down the list on and on, that the substantial drop-off has crushed Nebraska's season time and time again. Going forward with stability and with experience, you're hoping to advance to a time where that drop-off is maybe a little bit of a drop-off, but to where you can still run your offense at peak efficiency and take control of the football and ultimately win the football game. Really good conversation with Pete Nakos of On3, transfer reporter for the guys over there. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll bring in Eric Strickland for the crossover and get you ready for On the Block with Strick and Austin. Coming up on a Wednesday right here, Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, expecting partly sunny skies. Wind should be calm as well. We'll see a high of around 47. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies are expected. We'll see a low near 27. And tomorrow, probably sunny skies do return. Temperatures will be a little warmer. We'll see a high of around 53. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Have yourself a classic little Christmas this year by giving Nebraska Lottery scratch and lotto tickets as gifts. They're fast, fun, easy, and make great stocking stuffers, party favors, and last-minute presents. Choose from our family of 4 holiday classic scratch tickets with top prizes of $2, $10, $20, and $50,000. And don't forget to pick up tickets for our always popular lotto games like Powerball, Mega Millions, Lucky for Life, Nebraska Pick 5, and more. They'll all make your holidays truly classic. Top prize odds vary by game.
New year, new career. The new year is just around the corner. Why not start it off strong with a new career? General Excavating is looking for qualified underground utility project managers. Check out our website, generalexcavating.com, or call 402-467-1627 for more information. Happy holidays from General Excavating.
Are you tired of living in pain? It's time to take control. At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, we're your one-stop shop for expert care in Lincoln. From broken bones to complex reconstruction, our skilled team will help you get back on track. Visit prairieortho.com today and discover why we're the trusted choice for thousands of patients. Don't let pain hold you back. Take the first step towards a better, pain-free life with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins. Call 402-489-4700.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
It's fishing season. Bad actors are trolling your business emails, luring you and your employees to take the bait and steal your private information. Make sure your cybersecurity keeps your business from being the catch of the day. At Hamilton, cybersecurity is our business. We are experts at keeping your network and business information secure and off the hook. Contact Hamilton for a vulnerability assessment today. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, expecting partly sunny skies. Wind should be calm as well. We'll see a high of around 47. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies are expected. We'll see a low near 27. And tomorrow, partly sunny skies do return. Temperatures will be a little warmer. We'll see a high of around 53. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken dips. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone, and here with me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know the new Honda sales are going really good right now at Honda of Lincoln, and with that, a lot of fresh trade-ins are coming in. Can you tell our listeners about your pre-owned selection?
I'm happy to, Charlie. Like you said, with new Honda sales going very good, we have a lot of fresh trade-ins coming in daily, and not just Hondas. We have just about every maker model you can imagine, with over 100 pre-owned and certified pre-owned to choose from, and prices starting at just $5,900.
Wow, what about financing?
We have financing as low as 3.29% APR on certified Accords and CRV.
Thanks again, Andy. People love the selection and great service at Honda of Lincoln. Maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just the professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote control cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, UGG, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3, get 1 free on Smart Wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy person in your life. Brown Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
This is a house of learned doctors.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
As soon as your eyes shut, I'm going to punch you square in the face.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Okay, so how about this? We got off the phone with Pete Nakos of On3 just about 8 minutes ago. And 6 minutes ago, he has broke a story that Rutgers head coach Greg Schiano has signed in a contract extension. So this comes from Pete. $6.25 million per year for the Rutgers head coach. As you said, Austin, getting paid for what he's done, not what he's going to do.
If Rutgers wins 7 games a year in the new Big Ten for over a stretch of like 5 years in a row, Greg Schiano will be worth triple that contract for Rutgers. But here's the thing, it's not going to happen. So give that man his money for what he did in 2007. Give him that money for getting a bowl game now, and do what you can to keep him around.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Stricky, what's up?
None much. Staying busy because there's a lot of business going on out here right now. So just staying busy in the mix.
Standing on business. What does they say?
That's what they say.
What is it, like standing on or something like this? Like business?
Oh, well,
but nonetheless. Anyway, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line, both open for you guys the rest of the way here. Make sure you stick around on the block with Strick and Austin coming up in just a few minutes. Since we did go along on the middle segment, what you guys got coming up on the show today?
It's going to be a good one. We'll talk to Evan Bland here at 2:30. We'll ask the Bellevue West guy.
Yeah.
Bellevue West guys, how much they stick together. Are they willing to go their separate ways?
There you go.
Change over to football, though. A lot of NBA headlines. Tyrese Halliburton is here. Detroit lost 20 in a row. No, he's not here. But Joker.
He's arrived.
Yes, Joker gets tossed with no warning.
Wow.
Draymond.
Yeah.
Danger. and who do you trust, among...
It's not UFC.
No, here's the thing. With Draymond, is that something where, okay, now the punishments need to not only go to Draymond, but like a Steve Kerr? Like, is that the next... what's the next move, without giving away too much of the conversation? What does the NBA have to do? Because it's time and time again, we're seeing Draymond do these things for absolutely no reason.
For me personally, I think you have to look at how they treated the past, right? The way that they treated Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah.
The way that they treated Meta World Peace. The way that they treated Rodman. And if you're not going there and beyond, you're going to have another Draymond Green arrive beyond this point.
Yeah.
So if you're not at minimum going to the areas of what you've done with those guys in specific instances of their troubles, and because it was escalating troubles for them, right? It wasn't just that it arrived and you just said you're in this type of trouble. It's you've been showing a pattern of this type of situation. So I don't think right now at this point, I think they've been very lenient, but I think you now have to up it a notch.
Yeah, I would completely agree. Once again, that's all coming up and more on the block with Strick and Austin here in just a couple minutes. Once again, appreciate Pete Nakos of On3, their transfer portal reporter, who's obviously right in the thick of it with everything. If you missed any part of it, you can go back on the podcast page, check it out there. Just a quick snippet. Trevor Etienne, not happening. Princely Uman Mielen, potentially happening. Kyle McCord and Dylan Raiola probably happening. So there's that little bit of it. We talked Daniel Kalin with Pete a little bit. Also big picture college football landscape as well. A lot more as well. Great first segment conversation between Austin and I. Just the evolution of Nebraska's quarterback situation and the change in conversation. So check out the podcast page there. Don't go anywhere. On the block, Strick and Austin coming up next. Austin and I will talk to you on the happy hour tomorrow as Rico's in Tampa. See ya. New year, new career. The new year is just